Hi everyone and welcome to the latest edition of NCHC Between the Boards. I'm Greg Ankers. Coming up on tonight's show, we've got all the highlights from the opening weekend of college hockey, including some upsets across the NCHC. We'll introduce you to a Colorado College freshman whose emotional journey has not slowed him down from playing for the Tigers this season. We'll get to all of that soon, but we're going to start with our Spotlight series that takes us to Oxford, Ohio, where Miami played host to Providence in a rematch of last year's wild 7-5 Providence win in the opening round of the NCAA tournament, a win that the Friars would later capitalize on and win a national championship. Miami looking for revenge in this year's season opener. And Miami would get a jump start in this one. Just a minute in off the Providence College turnover, Alex Gasek skating in, going to get a shot off here. Can't get past the goaltender, we stay scoreless. 5 minutes later, though, Miami working an early power play and some nice puck movement. Jack Roslovic, the star freshman, settling down in the center of the soft spot, and he gets found for the goal to make it 1-0 Miami, but Providence would finish the first up 3-1. Early in the second, Miami trying to come back. Gasek finds Colin Sullivan streaking in. Nice move there and finishes to cut the deficit to 3-2. Late in the second, another Miami opportunity. A long pass ahead to Devin Lowe. He'll get a couple cracks at it, but can't finish. We end the second with a 5-2 Friars lead. Then in the third, Miami trying to come back in this one. A blast from the point, tipped in out in front by Josh Melnick. Providence goes on to finish the deal, winning it 7-3 in a rough opener for the Miami Redhawks.
Our compete level has to be better. We have to start winning battles. We have to execute within our strengths. And once we start doing that, maybe we'll be in some games. But tonight was not, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. It wasn't very good.
After the team allows 7 goals in the opener, Jay Williams sitting this one out. Ryan McKay goes in net for the Redhawks in the first period. Louis Belpedio coming up with a nice wrister here, makes it 1-0 Miami early on. 3 minutes after that, though, in the first, Providence has the answer off of the faceoff. Jake Wallman with the blasted one-timer beats McKay, and it's 1-1 after the first. In the second, just 3 minutes in, Providence working a power play, and John Gilmore wide open on the backside rebound. That puts the Friars out in front 2-1. But in the third, Roslovic, the great freshman, finds Chris Joyu out in front. Great feed there. This one ends in a 2-all tie, but the teams would play a 3-on-3 overtime just for fun, and 1:26 into OT. Great play off the boards. Josh Melnick finishes there to get the winner, but officially it's a 2-all draw and a nice bounce back for the Redhawks on Saturday night.
We just said play a full 60 tonight. Let's just see what happens if we play a full 60 minutes and see what happens if we do stick to our systems for a night and don't falter or change that at all. And that's what we did. We were down 2-1 and guys stuck to the systems, give them credit, and we changed a few things, and sticking to it kind of paid off for us a bit.
We forget this team's a little bit young still up front, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to understand the level of compete that you have to play with. And I thought our guys did that in the third period, so it was a good sign.
There's plenty more highlights ahead as you watch NCHC Between the Boards, including a top 10 matchup in Mankato. We go Mavericks versus Mavericks next. Welcome back. Dean Blaze led the Omaha Mavericks to a Frozen Four appearance last season with a very young team. This year, that young team has developed a lot of experience through last season's success. They opened the season in a top 10 matchup, traveling to Mankato to take on last year's upstart team in Minnesota State. And this one, just 5 minutes into the first, and Omaha going to strike first. Justin Parizek going to make the nice extra pass to Jake Randolph for the easy goal, and a 1-0 Omaha lead. Later in the first, Austin Ortega skating into the zone. He'll leave it for Jake Gensel, and Gensel finishes for a 2-0 Omaha lead after the first. In the second, less than a minute in, Ortega comes calling again. He gets the initial shot and follows it up and gets the reward to make it 3-0 Omaha. And at the other end of the ice, Kurt Thompson doing just enough to earn the W in this one. He stops 24 shots on 26 opportunities for Minnesota State. As Kirk Thompson in Omaha gets the W on Friday night, winning it 3-2 the final. Same two teams, same location on Saturday night. In first period, it starts out the Jake Randolph show with the breakaway goal here. Put the Mavs out in front 1-0. Then in the third, still 1-0. And Randolph going to get the steal here, and he will go in one-on-one with the goaltender, and Randolph beats him for a 2-0 lead, and that would be more than enough for Evan Wenninger in his collegiate debut in net for the Mavs. And what a debut he had with the great save there. Wenninger stops all 40 shots he would face to get the shutout as Omaha wins this one 2-0, and they get the sweep over Minnesota State. A great start for Dean Blaze's bunch, winning this one again by the final of 2-0. North Dakota at the Icebreaker Tournament in Portland, Maine, taking on Lake Superior State on a Friday matinee affair. In the first, Lake Superior on the attack, and JT Hankey going to finish with the goal. Lake Superior State would build a 2-0 lead in this one, but North Dakota would get things going after that in the second. On the power play, off of a face-off, Keaton Thompson winds and fires from the point to tie things up at 2 goals apiece. Less than a minute later, then Austin Pagansky working hard out in front. He will get rewarded for his efforts on this one as he finishes on the rebound, put North Dakota out in front 3-2. They would not trail after that. In the third, skating shorthanded, Troy Stetcher winning a battle there, feeds Bryn Chiswick for the goal as North Dakota goes on to win the opener of the Icebreaker, winning it 5-2. UND would then play host Maine on Saturday in the second of a scoreless game. UND, though, working with a man advantage. Paul Ledoux going to come up with the initial shot here. Chris Wilkie, more net front presence, gets the rebound goal there to make it 1-0 UND. Later in the second, Maine on the power play. Troy Stetcher with an uncharacteristic turnover here. Cam Brown finishes for the Black Bears as that ties things up at 1 goal apiece. Cam Johnson, though, was solid on back-to-back nights in net. Here are one of his 19 saves on the night as this one ends in a 1-1 draw, and with the win and tie, UND wins the Icebreaker Tournament. Nice start for Brad Berry in his opening debut for North Dakota.
The game itself, we played really well. We had a lot of chances. I mean, their goalie made some pretty key saves there late to keep it tied. So, but I mean, overall, I think we're pretty happy with our game, and we're just going to keep building off that.
St. Cloud State going way up to the last frontier in Alaska, taking on Fairbanks on Friday. It was 1-0 St. Cloud in the first when Blake Winicki adds to that, punching that one in for a 2-0 St. Cloud lead. Then in the third, same score. The puck gets left in the crease here for Judd Peterson, who dives in to get the goal. We'll take another look at this one as St. Cloud State goes up 3-0 as Peterson will streak in from the bottom of your screen here. The puck just left hanging there. He's Johnny on the spot as St. Cloud gets the opening win by the final of 3-0. St. Cloud State then would take on host Alaska Anchorage on Saturday. And in the first, welcome to the Huskies show. John Lizotte with a great pass here, finding Robbie Jackson wide open on the backside. That makes it a 1-0 game. Later in the first, St. Cloud State on the power play. Jimmy Murray with a sweet backhand feed here to Joey Bennick for the goal to make it 2-0 Huskies. Then still in the first, Robbie Jackson going to get his second goal of the period, and it's an easy one. So he goes top shelf there to make it 3-0 Huskies. In the third, though, St. Cloud clinging to just a 3-2 lead, but Jimmy Murray skating in, and he beats the goaltender here one-on-one. Nice backhand effort to make it 4-2 St. Cloud. Then later in the third on the power play, no insurance necessary, but David Morley's going to give it to you right there with the easy goal. St. Cloud State starts 2-0 with the 6-2 win. Denver and Air Force in a home-and-home on Friday, starting in Colorado Springs. In the first, Emil Romig with the goal to tie things up at 1 apiece. Then in the second, a power play goal from Quentin Shore makes it a 2-2 game. Later in the second, still tied, Danton Heinen down low, cleaning that one up as Denver goes out in front 3-2, but the Pioneers would trail 4-3 in the third. Quentin Shore gets another goal to tie this one up at 4 goals apiece. The teams would skate into overtime, but it's going to be Air Force's Johnny Herbofsky is going to get the game winner here off the draw. Air Force goes on to win the opener 5-4. 4. Bad news for the Pioneers as they get the loss in the opener, but good news, they skate on their home ice as the series shifts to Magnus Arena on Saturday in the first. Just a minute 43 in, though. Air Force is going to strike first once again. Dylan Aboud with the goal to put the Falcons out in front 1-0, but Denver would get things rolling after that. Later in the first, Matt Marcineau with a shot through traffic, gets by everybody, including the all-important goaltender, to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. Then in the second, Evan Jansen with the Pioneers on the attack gets the initial shot. The puck comes all the way around, though, to Nolan Zajac for the goal to make it 2-1 Pioneers. Then in the third, off of a face-off, Nick Neville with a big shot from the point here. That one sails past everyone as Denver goes up 3-1. They get the 3-1 win and salvage the split.
I thought our third period was the best period I've seen us look like a team that's starting to grow and come together. And I thought we dictated play. I thought our puck management was great. Our puck pressure was really good. And Air Force really didn't generate much in the third.
Up next, more highlights, including NCHC preseason favorite Minnesota Duluth. That's next. Welcome back. A home-and-home series between Bemidji State and Minnesota Duluth got off to a bumpy start last weekend. The opener of that series, to be scheduled in Duluth, was postponed due to a power outage. That game will be made up now on Friday 9th in Duluth. So instead, the series opener would shift to Saturday night in Bemidji. Here are the highlights. So that sets up a one-game winner-take-all in this series on Saturday in Bemidji for these two teams. No score in the second. Duluth skating shorthanded. Tony Cameronese, the nice setup to Andy Walensky for a 1-0 Duluth lead. In the third, 2-1 Bemidji State. But the Beavers turn it over in their own zone, and Austin Young comes up with the goal there to tie things up at 2 apiece. But with 22 seconds to go in regulation, Brendan Harms with the shot. Puck comes back to him, feeds it to Charlie O'Connor for the game winner. Bemidji State takes it 3-2 the final. UMass visiting Colorado College on Friday night, second period. 3-0 UMass. Tigers trying to come back. Trevor Gooch with the great second effort, and the Colorado College power play makes it a 3-1 game in the third. CC down 4, but not giving up. Back on a power play, Andrew Farney with the one-timer. Puck loose out in front. Hunter Fegis cleans it up to make it a 5-2 game. Later in the third, CC charging in. Trey Bradley gets the goal here to cut it to 5-3, but UMass wins the opener on Friday night, taking it 6-3 the final. Teams would repeat their performance on Saturday, and a better start for Colorado College. In the second, up 1-0 on a power play. David Radke with the one-timer there to make it 2-0 for Coach Haviland's group. Later in the second, Timo Kivihalme skating in and goes top shelf for a 3-0 Tigers lead. But in the third, all UMass. They would score 4 unanswered goals in the period, capped off by Austin Plevy's game winner as UMass comes back to win. 4-3 is the final. Western Michigan and Ferris State in a home-and-home starting on Friday at the Zoo. In the second, trailing 1-0, but on a power play. Great puck movement, and Sheldon Dries alone in the middle ties things up at a goal apiece. Later in the second, Ferris State back up a goal, but Western Michigan's Chris Dines calling for it on the power play. He gets the goal there to tie it up at 2 apiece. Then in the third, Kyle Novak carrying in for the Broncos, and Griffin Molino with the finish on the power play there as Western Michigan goes on to win the opener. Great second look there, winning it 3-2 the final on Friday night.
Kind of brings back a little bit of deja vu to 2 years ago when we ended that series. Every game against them was like this. So we fully expect tomorrow night's game is going to be a battle as well. They're a hard-working, determined team. They battle you for every puck. And tonight we wanted to have a plus on our special teams, and certainly that was the case here this evening. But it wasn't just a battle.
And what a battle it would be as the series shifts back to Ferris State on Saturday in the third period of a scoreless game. Western Michigan a 3-on-2. Griffin Molino's shot finds Kyle Novak's stick, and it's 1-0 Western Michigan. Later in the third, Matt Robertson with an initial shot, and on the second chance, he feeds it to Kyle Schemp for the goal to tie things up at 1 apiece. This one ends in a 1-1 tie, so Western Michigan gets the win and the tie. Not a bad way to start the season. And Andy Murray's bunch wasn't done. On Tuesday night of this week, Western Michigan back at home hosting a ranked Bowling Green squad, and a minute 15 into the first, On a delayed penalty, Kyle Novak skates in and scores to put the Broncos out in front 1-0. Later in the first, puck comes out of the corner, and it's going to be Oliver Kasky with the goal here to make it 2-0 Western Michigan. Then in the second, the Broncos working on a power play and some great play off of the face-off. Matheson Iacopelli with a big blast here in the goal. Western Michigan up 3-0, and they go on to upset Bowling Green with a 4-1 win. Great start for Andy Murray's bunch. And after a busy weekend on the ice, several NCHC players have been recognized for their excellence on the ice. Offensive Player of the Week honors go to Jake Randolph, the sophomore forward from Omaha who had 3 goals in that sweep at Minnesota State. Defenseman of the Week is St. Cloud State's Nathan Widman, who had a +5 rating and 2 assists in leading the Huskies to a crown at the Kendall Hockey Classic. Rookie of the Week goes to Evan Wenninger of Omaha. The freshman goaltender posted a 40-save shutout in his collegiate debut Saturday at Minnesota State. And the goaltender of the week is Cam Johnson from North Dakota, who finished with 43 saves on 46 shots in Maine with a .935 save percentage and a 1.44 goals against average. This week's polls look like this. In the USCHO.com poll, North Dakota, with their win and tie over the weekend, takes over the top spot across the nation. Omaha and Denver are also in the top 5 from the NCHC. Minnesota Duluth, St. Cloud State, and Miami also cracking that poll. The USA Today poll similar, with North Dakota at the top. Omaha checks in at 4, followed by Minnesota Duluth and Denver at 7 and 8, and St. Cloud State also checking in at number 12 there. Well, straight ahead, a tragedy on his birthday as a child doesn't stop a Colorado College player from living out his dream on the ice. That's next. Welcome back. Many of us are fortunate to grow up with pleasant memories from birthdays throughout our childhood, but for one Colorado College freshman, the memories he has from his 7th birthday aren't for the gifts he received, but rather from the ultimate gift that he lost.
James Martello Jr. just celebrated his 21st birthday and is beginning a new chapter as a freshman hockey player at Colorado College. But for James, each birthday is a reminder of the birthday gift he never received when he turned 7, to go to work with his dad.
It was my birthday present to go to the World Trade Centers with him on the 11th. And when we were about to leave, my mom just said that she had a bad feeling and kind of just brought me back into the house and made me go to school.
That was the last time he'd ever see his father. But as a boy active in sports, his mother Sheila made sure he found male role models within athletics, and it was no different when he was searching for the right college.
I've been with my mom my whole life. I've never been away playing juniors. I've always lived at home. So this is really my first time going away. And she just felt like Coach Havlin would be there and he would be a good person to talk to.
When you have a tragedy go on like that and to see somebody succeed in the classroom and to succeed on the ice, and then those are the people you want to have in your program. You want to surround yourself with, your staff with, your other players with.
And even though James hasn't played a game yet for the Tigers, Coach Havland expects he'll have a big impact on the program.
He's had to prove himself everywhere he's gone, and and he's done that. And when you talk to previous coaches about him, they say he got better as the year went on. He understands the game and he plays it the right way and he gives you an honest effort. And I think when you get guys like that, everybody else starts to follow. And I think James is going to be one of those leaders as his years go on here.
His dad was never able to give him that gift on September 11th, 2001. But the gift of leadership and perseverance reside within him. And because of that, his dad still remains by his side.
I think he would just be proud like my mom. He's been with me my whole life pretty much. Even though my mom comes to most of my games, he's always there. So it's definitely hard not having him actually here, but I just tell myself that he's always watching and just try and make the best of every game and know that he's part of me making it here.
Still to come, they're not conference rivals, but they met on the ice 5 times last season. Minnesota Duluth and Minnesota. The Golden Gophers renew their rivalry. We'll preview the weekend series next. Welcome back. It's a home-and-home series you're going to want to keep tabs on this weekend as Minnesota Duluth and the University of Minnesota renew their rivalry on the ice. The two teams met 5 times last year, with Minnesota Duluth winning 4 of the 5 matches, including at the Northeast Regional at the NCAA tournament last season. Here's Scott Sandelin on his thoughts of this weekend's matchup.
You know, sometimes there's years you just match up well versus teams and things go your way. Year in and year out, they're a good team. They've got a lot of skilled players. I think the game against Minnesota that Saturday here, I think it was the best atmosphere we've played in since the building opened. And it was a great hockey game, and obviously we were real excited because we won that game too. But we had their number last year, and obviously this year we get a chance to play them again, so hopefully it continues.
Other matchups to keep an eye on this weekend: number 14 Minnesota State travels to number 12 St. Cloud State. Omaha is playing host to Vermont in a top 20 matchup. Number 1 North Dakota has a home-and-home with Bemidji State this weekend. Number 5 Denver plays host to Michigan State. In Ohio, Miami and Ohio State in a home-and-home, and Colorado College will visit Massachusetts Lowell. We'll have highlights of all of those games right here next week at 6:30 on Friday on Midco Sports Network. Until then, enjoy the games this weekend, everyone. We'll see you next week.